Capital One, just like any other financial institution, has their fair share of controversy. For example, Capital One plans on acquiring Discover in an all-stock transaction worth $35.3 billion. And of course, Capital One has their bucket and the low credit limits they give, and even the low credit limit increases they give you after reevaluating your credit worthiness. So obviously, I am victim to some of the things I just mentioned, and in this video, I'm going to go over a lot of those things. But this video isn't really about Capital One as a bank, but more so one of the credit cards they offer, the Capital One Savor card, formerly known as the Capital One Savor One card. Let's get into it. And everything in this video I'm talking about is straight from the Capital One website, but before you sign up for any credit card, make sure you do your own due diligence and make sure it matches your financial situation. And if you are already going to sign up for the Capital One Savor card, if you use the link in the description, it helps the channel out tremendously and I would greatly appreciate it. And I have reviewed this card in the past, but under the Savor One name. So this is an update video on the Savor card, and I'm going to go into depth of all of what it offers now, which not much has changed, but I'm going to go over what it offers, who this card is right for, who this card isn't right for, just all the little things that comes with getting the Savor card. So the Capital One Savor card offers two different options, one for good credit and one for excellent credit, basically meaning one to help you rebuild or establish your credit, or the other for someone who has an established credit and did very good during their credit journey. I would recommend the one with excellent credit simply because it has more perks, which we will talk about later in the video. But if you cannot get the excellent credit one, you can still go for the good credit one if you're truly trying to rebuild or establish your credit. I do think that's a good option. Speaking of the options you get with the Savor card, the two options you get, let's start off with the Savor card for good credit, which they like to call Savor Rewards for good credit, which that doesn't have any annual fees, which, like I say in all my credit card videos, I love cards with no annual fees simply because you get the full value of the card. This card offers 3% cash back at grocery stores, dining, entertainment, and popular streaming services. One of my favorite cash back cards, and I did talk about it in this video, I'll link up here, but obviously still got to think about where you're spending this card at to get the most value. You do get 1% cash back on all other purchases. You get 8% cash back on entertainment when you get it through Capital One Entertainment. They have a segment for entertainment, so if you use it through that portal, then you can possibly get 8% cash back on those purchases. And you also get 5% cash back on hotels and rental cars when you use it through the Capital One Travel portal, which is a good perk for those travelers out there. 5% cash back is extremely competitive compared to a lot of other credit card companies. There's also a lot of catches to things like the entertainment section. There's certain things you can't get the 3% cash back on, which you would think you can get. So you have to just do the full research whenever you go on the website and see all the places that accept the 3% entertainment, 3% dining, 3% grocery stores. Like for example, Target and Walmart do not fall under the category of grocery store. It doesn't fall into that category. So do your due diligence when you're trying to get 3% cash back on those categories. This card also doesn't have any foreign transaction fees, so it's good for those people that like to go outside of the country from time to time. Also, another really good perk that I experienced myself is your cash back that you earn through using this card does not expire, and you can redeem it kind of how you want to through that Capital One Entertainment or the Capital One Travel portal, and it really is a seamless process. It isn't very complicated to do so, and the way they set it up inside the app makes it extremely easy to function. But obviously the biggest negative to the Capital One Savor card for good credit is the fact that you don't get that $200 sign-on bonus, which you do get with the Capital One Savor card for excellent credit. And let's talk a little bit about that. And this is the one for the Savor Rewards card. That's how they say it on the website. So there's only two major differences between the Savor Rewards card for good credit and the Savor Rewards card for excellent credit. And that's the low intro APR and the sign up bonus you get for $200. So outside of that, everything is pretty similar all the way down to the offers you get for cash back, like the 3% category, the 5% category, the 8% category. All of those things are identical. So I will talk about the two things that's different from the two cards. One is the low intro APR, meaning you get 0% APR on the first 15 months on purchases and balance transfers. But after that first 15 months, that APR jumps up to 19.24%, up to 29.24%, which is a very high interest rate. So you just want to make sure you pay off that balance before that 15-month grace period is over. Two, you get a sign-up bonus of $200 when you spend $500 within the first 3 months of opening this account. And that's a very good sign-up bonus. So with a sign-up bonus like this, where all you have to do is spend $500 within the first 3 months, typically we all do that naturally on food, grocery stores, or entertainment. See what I did there? And you also get that 3% cash back while you're spending the money on that using the Capital One Savor card. And once you hit that $500 within the 3 months, you then get that $200 sign-up bonus, and it should happen naturally. You shouldn't have to go outside of your spending habits in order to do that. Who is this card right for? I would say this card is right for individuals who, one, eat a lot. And I don't mean that in a disrespectful way. I mean it more so like, say you have a big family, or you personally just have an appetite for certain things, or you like to go to certain places and get certain types of food. You're just a foodie. And I fall into that category. That's why I have the Capital One Savor card, and I get a lot of cash back in that category. This card is also right for those people who don't want to pay to get these perks. Like some people would go for the gold card, but we all know the gold card has a hefty annual fee, but this card doesn't. And you can get a lot of different perks that are similar on the gold card that are also on the Capital One Savor card. Who else this card is right for are people who like to go to concerts, go to places, go travel places as well, because you know you got the Capital One travel portal. But not only that, also people who have a lot of streaming services like Hulu, Netflix, Peacock, stuff of that nature. So I would say this card is right for those individuals. Who this card isn't right for are people who are enthusiasts in the travel category, that everything they want to do is here or there where they are required to travel, because this isn't technically a travel credit card, but it does have travel perks. But I would say there are cards out there that's better with the travel categories. So I would say the Capital One Savor card isn't really for those people who like to majorly travel year round. And obviously there is a lot of things that I'm leaving out. I'm not going to full detail about the Capital One Savor card. And with this play, I understand exactly what Capital One did. It's a card for people who aren't really worthy for it, and then there's a card for people who are truly worthy of it. So they have both demographics, and they don't lose anyone, because they did have a few cards there. They offered more cards, but they took all the fluff out and just focused on good and excellent. There are people that can build their credit or reestablish it, but then there's those people who already have a fully established credit and did the right thing throughout their credit journey, and they can get that excellent option. So I do see exactly what Capital One did. I think personally the two options are good options. They used to have an option with the annual fee. They dropped that and they focused more so on the experience of using the Savor card. And I think that was a good play from Capital One. But with that being said, I'll see y'all on the next one.